Welcome back. You are watching me, Thomas Churchill. Well, I am an independent producer, writer, director, sometimes actor, radio host. I created films called Lazarus, Day of the Living Dead, The Emerging Past, Devoured, Maryland Zombie Hunter, and we have a new film that is kind of hush-hush right now. It's called, can't tell you, but it's a different film. We're starting production on it in June. It's completely out of my circle, that's all I can say, but it's a fun, exciting project that I'm really looking to dive into and kind of do something for my country. That's the only hint I'm giving you. My father, I just recently lost him, but he was I guess my introduction to the genre. When I was a kid, well, he was my introduction to the whole movie world too, because it was this man right here, Hanover. I'll pan back, I'm going to give you a quick story and then I'll tell you about my horror. I was a kid in Central Park Zoo with my father. He used to take me out in New York City while my mom was getting dinner together or cleaning the house. He used to take me out. And we were in the zoo, and my father points over to this gentleman walking, and he says, "See that guy over there? That's a movie star." And I looked, because this was around the time I just got introduced to big movies like Star Wars and everything else. I let go of my father's hand, and I ran beeline right over to this gentleman, and I grabbed his elbow, and I started tugging on it. And he looked down at me, and I said, "I want to be a movie star just like you, Mr. Williamson." And whoever thought, years later, I'm actually going to be directing him in a movie that I can't talk about, and another film, and we became friends, and that's my first introduction to who or what celebrity should look like. It's Mr. Fred Williamson, the Hammer. So my father, going back to that, again, if I did well in school, or if I did, you know, just to get me out of the house while my mom had to get the house together or cook, he used to take me to either action films or horror films. And one of the things with horror films, now back in the day, there was no, you know, you didn't see trailers a lot and everything else. And my father would read the newspaper, see a picture that he liked, and say, "Hey, let's go to the movies," because there was nothing, it wasn't like cable and everything else where everything was showing all the time. And I remember him taking me to the movies, and he used to cover my ears, cover my eyes on all the blood and gore and the boobs, you know, didn't want me seeing that yet. But he never covered my ears. And I used to hear things in the films that kind of magnified more in my head of really what was going on, and used to scare me to death. And I loved it. And it was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Even though I don't know what happened in that scene because my eyes were covered, but it just frightened me, it scared me. And I guess that intrigued me into wanting to scare the world and do horror films, but horror films that are different. You know, horror films that are, I don't like writing cliche, I don't like writing what everybody else is doing. I like, if I'm gonna do something like a zombie storyline, for like Lazarus Day of the Living Dead, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to tell the story of how, when, why the so-called zombie apocalypse would start and who started it. We all know about, if you watch every zombie movie, it happened. We don't know what happened, but it happened. And it's always survivors, and it's always the zombies. But where did it happen? When did it happen? So we created a film called Lazarus Day of the Living Dead, which to me is a homage to Night of the Living Dead because it goes into that movie, and it's a period piece. It's a homage to Alfred Hitchcock, who is one of the greatest directors of suspense ever, and it also has that biblical timeline Because you got to have something to do with the Bible and everything else if you're talking about pretty much the undead, you know, that they just don't stay in the ground. You know, something had to happen. So that was my thought process in that, and the thought process of why I did horror films. Yes, one of the 7 no-nos of independent film is never make a period piece, because we either don't have the money or the resources, or just they think we can't get it right. I wanted to break that rule as an independent filmmaker, because I feel like if you have your tools and you have what you have lined up, you can absolutely make whatever you set out to do. Whether it's a period piece, a monster film, an action film, a war film, don't let anybody tell you you can't do it because they failed. So you learn that from someone else, that what they did wrong, and you make sure you do not do that. Making a period piece was tough. I definitely have to say it was a tough thing to do, but it's rewarding, because anybody I showed that film to that lived in the era of 1957, they still can't get over how authentic the film is. When I wrote the script, I spent about 6 months just studying the 50s. I love old Hollywood. I think, Fred, I'm sorry, I put this on your chair because people were walking by. All right, sorry about that. We'll take it from the top. I love old Hollywood. I think it had this glamour and this flair that filmmakers, studios forgot about. Now it's a lot of suits telling the creative arts what to do because of money. Being an artist is about being an artist. And of course it's a film business, so you need to make sure you make money. So don't make a film about a tree, because nobody's going to care. Don't make a film about clothing or whatever unless it's intriguing or whatever. It's a film business. You got to make something that's going to make money. It's going to keep putting money in your pocket, and your investors are going to be very happy because they're going to want to give you more money to do another film. So keep in mind, passion is great, but it's a film business. And setting out to do a period piece like Lazarus, I spent about 6 months just studying and understanding what worked in the golden age of cinema, what was great, and trying to mimic that and get that down and be authentic with it. And I think we captured it, you know. And like when I was approached to do Lazarus, my business partner stated, "Why don't we do a zombie movie?" And I said to him, I love zombie movies, but everybody's doing the same thing. You know, I mean, The Walking Dead is great, but they're using the George Romero playbook on zombies. If I'm going to do something different for the genre, I want to come in different. I want to know who started it, where it started, how it started, and why. And I also want to tell it in a film noir version. I also want to feel like if Hitchcock was still alive, how would he tell a story about zombies? So, still being true to the zombie timeline, that's how I set out to write Lazarus, Day of the Living Dead. And I think the results is a lot of people love it. You might have that small group that still didn't embrace it because it's black and white. But it's not just black and white. I can assure you there's color in it. Vivid color where it counts. Blood, guts, gore, biting, it's all there. But that's what the period piece is. Just focus, set your mind, and do it, no matter what people say. You can do it! Money. But, you know, independent, the true term of independent filmmaker is you're working outside the studio system. Because if you look at budget-wise, I mean, George Lucas, who created those 3 films that were supposed to be prequels. Did I say that?
I run, of course, Carter Comics, which is, I'm the artist and the writer and promoter of Carter Comics, and I write, illustrate, promote 3 different books: Figure Speech Mongoose, The Cosmic Force, and Damn Tourists.